All right. Good morning, LinkedIn. How are you? Happy Wednesday. The conversation that I'm excited to have with you today is really one that's super relevant. Whether you are leading a team of one VA or leading a team of hundreds. And what I want to talk with you about today are the biggest takeaways that I had from my podcast interview with Tameika Isaac Devine. The interview came out yesterday, so you can go check it out on any of your favorite podcast players. It's episode 58 of the Instant Impact podcast, but it's all about how to lead through uncertain times. So as you are coming in this morning and joining me, let me know right now, who are you leading? Is it your team? Is it your community? Is it your family? Do you have a VA who you're leading? Do you have a team of 20 or 30, or like I said, maybe hundreds of people who you're leading right now? So let's check. Okay, good. So Sarah's manning the comments, so we are good to go. That's great. So yeah, as you come in, just type in the comments, who are you leading right now? And the other thing I'd love to know is, what's your biggest question about how to lead right now? And, I wanted to have Tameika on my podcast for a number of different reasons. She's one of my personal coaching clients and have been working with her for a little bit over a year on her own brand. And the woman, when you think about someone who has achieved a lot in her life, Tameika is someone who immediately comes to mind. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's an elected official. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's a coach. She's an attorney. I mean, the woman does it all. And so she's leading all of these different groups of people right now through, frankly, a lot of uncertainty and a lot of change. And I don't know about you, but for myself, just over the past 6 weeks or so, I've had some questions about, how do I lead my team best right now? And what do I share about what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, et cetera, right? And I think a lot of times as a leader, we can feel like we have to have it all figured out and we have to know everything. Let me know if you ever feel that way in the comments. But one of the great things that I got from Tameika is that we don't have to have it all figured out. And it's really about connecting on a human level with the people who you're leading. So I'm going to share with you, I've got 3 key takeaways that I had from this interview with her. And again, if you want to go catch the full interview, then check out episode 58 of the Instant Impact podcast on your favorite podcast player. But the first thing that was really a big takeaway that she shared was, right now is a time to communicate more than ever. So you want to communicate as much as possible to everyone, your team, your clients, your colleagues, your family. Be super accessible. Each of us right now is probably feeling more isolated than ever and feeling a little bit like we are going crazy at home doing the same thing again and again, right? If we are fortunate enough to only have the quote unquote inconvenience of having to stay home. And we can feel disconnected. And one of the best pieces of advice that she gave was being really accessible and staying connected. And it made me think about something that one of my other clients is doing right now, which is a weekly video to his entire team, just giving them a state of the company, a state of what's going on, pulling out good news specifically of what's working within their company and their organization. And little touch points like that. Think about, how could you maybe do a video to the whole team? How could you touch base more frequently? How could you just ask your people how they're doing? These are all things that you can be doing to have increased communication and to create that trust factor, so that when you come out of this, you have even stronger bonds and relationships with your team than you had in the first place. I'm just checking to see, oh, hey, Eric, good morning. So glad that you're here joining. So that was really the first takeaway, is to communicate. The second thing that I asked Tameika about was, how do you keep your mindset strong? And like I mentioned at the beginning of this, if you're in a leadership position, there's a certain built-in pressure to really feel like you have the right answers, or like everything is calm, everything is under control, you've got it figured out. And while I don't think we ever want to we don't ever want to tell people we've got it figured out when we don't, right? So you don't want to paint a false perception. However, it is your job as a leader to have a strong mindset and to have a vision and a plan and a roadmap for your team and how you're going to navigate this and what it's going to look like. And so what you have to start to look at is, well, who's supporting you to keep your mindset strong and to help stay at that higher elevated level of thinking throughout everything. And Tameika shared a couple of different things. One is that for her, it's her faith. And so if you're a person of faith, then I think really deepening and strengthening your spiritual connection right now is super important, right? And for me, it looks like my daily, I call it the spiritual workout. So first thing in the morning, getting up, journaling, reading, meditating, praying, that really helps stay so grounded and so anchored and so centered right now. And it's, to me, I feel such a big difference if I do that versus if I don't do it. It has to be a part of the day. And you may have to get up early to do this. I'm up between 4 and 5 every morning to get this in because it is that important and that critical so that I can be strong and I can be grounded and I can be centered and stay focused on opportunity when I'm interacting with my team, my family, my customers throughout the day. So it is critical that you are pouring into yourself and giving yourself the nurturing that you need right now to keep your mindset strong. So I would be paying really special attention to what sort of books are you reading? What sort of media are you consuming? If you have a prayer life or a spiritual life, what does that look like? Has it gotten kind of pushed to the wayside with everything that's going on? Or have you strengthened that relationship? Are you taking the time to be quiet and to meditate and to build up your own internal just groundedness through all of this? Because that's really what you're being called to do right now. And that's really what your team needs from you as well. Just checking comments. Hey, I may not be saying your name correctly, but Tahir, I think hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. Hey, glad to have you join. So that's the second thing, is keeping your mindset strong. And the third question that I had from her, and this is something that I've been asked by a number of my clients and I haven't known the answer to because we're not in this situation yet, but it was, if I have kids at home and I'm trying to get my work done and simultaneously run my business, how in the world do I do it? And many of you know, we've got our first on the way this summer, but it's not running around the house yet. So I haven't had that experience and I haven't felt like I've been able to offer good advice to my clients or to my network who are asking that question. And Tameika had just some really good insights here. And one of the things that she shared was the importance of giving yourself grace and just being a realist and knowing that you're probably not going to get done everything that you normally get done when the kids aren't home. That's just not reality, and that's okay. But one of the things that she shared that I thought was a great tip that you can use, whether you have kids at home right now or not, is just being super intentional about picking out the top 3 things that need to be done that day. So every day she gets up, she has her list of, these are the 3 things that if I can accomplish this today, this will be a success. And then she gets to work early. I mean, she shared on the interview, she's working oftentimes at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. She has like a 3-hour chunk before the family starts really waking up and taking her time, where that's her time to work and get stuff done. And so it does take an adjusting of schedule, and it does take setting some boundaries, but giving yourself the grace and also prioritizing what's actually most important right now, I think is critical. And I think that's just, for me personally, as I kind of look at what I've been thinking about over the past month and what I've thought about, every situation I think that happens in our life, it's designed to teach us something, to sharpen us in some way. And for me, one of the biggest teachings of everything going on in the world has been to focus on what actually matters and stop getting distracted by the natter. It's so easy to feel like you have to pay attention to everything and everyone, or to get caught up in, agonizing over small problems. And I think what's really shifted for me in my thinking over the past 6-ish weeks or so has been getting really clear on what actually matters. And I think in this third tip that she shared, you can incorporate that to say, what truly matters today out of everything? If I could just get 3 things done, what would those things be? Knock them out as early in the day as you can, and then you've done it, right? If you get more done, great. If not, that's okay too. But just really celebrating those 3 victories every day, and then knowing that there's always tomorrow to complete what's next. So those were the biggest takeaways. If you have any questions on leading your team through times of uncertainty or leading your team through change, now's the time to pop them in the chat. And also, I would really encourage you to go check out the podcast interview with Tameika. Again, it's episode 58 of the Instant Impact podcast, which you can find on any of your podcast players. I would ask that if you love the interview and if you love the content, please subscribe and leave a review. Every single week, I'm coming to you with expert interviews from people like Tameika to help you build your brand, build your business, grow your impact and your legacy, and do it in a way that's really rooted and grounded in generosity and in legacy as well. So with that, guys, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to assume there aren't any questions, but huge thanks to everyone who hopped on today. And connect with Tameika too. If you're not connected with her here on LinkedIn, send her a connection request. Let her know that you heard about her on the Instant Impact podcast. And she's just such a wealth of information and leadership. Thank you so much. Again, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Taher. You'll have to send me a message and let me know. But thank you. I'm so glad that this resonated with you today. And guys, I'm live every single Wednesday at 11:30. So be sure to join me again next week. So good spending time with you today and wishing you a fantastic rest of your day. Bye for now.